Whenever these two pro gamers face off against each other, it's always fireworks. What I've got for you today is a best of 5 series between the #1 and the #2 Terran in the world currently. Now, last time that these two faced off against each other, they were chatting away the entire time. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's gonna be the case once again today. This particular match is the grand finals of the Korean StarCraft League, number 7? 8? 7? I don't know. 8? Probably 8. I'm not entirely sure. Could be 8. Could be... I don't know. Spotted right here in the top left-hand corner of Gresven. That's map #1 in this best of 5 series. Playing with the red Terran SCVs. We have the #1 Terran in the world, and his name is Maru. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran SCVs. He's considered to be the #2 Terran on the planet, and his nickname is ByuN. Alrighty, ByuN, of course, known for his hyper-aggressive playstyle. Whenever this man gets medevacs out, he'll be sending units towards the other side every single time. He loves to go for doom drops. He loves to, well, place every single structure that he's got on the other side of the map. And of course, that doesn't mean he can't play defensively, but usually he likes being the aggressor. Maru, on the other hand, very much so the type of Terran who will defend against whatever you throw at him and then eventually overwhelm you. Again, he's perfectly capable of cheesing and he does it all the time. But generally speaking, this is a really fun clash of playstyles. Now, last time around, we could actually notice them messing up in macro as well as in micro because they were busy chatting. This happens sometimes, I guess, when you have a couple of friends hanging out together and just playing for a couple $100 here and there every couple of days, it seems. Now, oh, okay, one of the observers, or I guess the referee, decides to join in as well. That's interesting, because normally whenever an observer talks, they're unable to talk in the in-game chat, so the players can't actually see it, but whenever a referee talks, it does show up. So I'm not sure what these guys are discussing. If somebody can let us know in the comment section down below, I'm sure that a lot of people, myself included as well, are gonna be interested to hear what these two are talking about. Anyways, this is a Terran vs Terran. Terran vs Terran is one of those matchups that can be over in just a heartbeat. That being said though, Gresven is usually the macro map, it seems. These players, they, well, definitely aren't afraid to get the game over with within the first couple of minutes, but usually this does tend to be the macro map. A little bit of a build order deviation right here. ByuN going for the reactor right here on the barracks, whereas on the other side of the map, we don't have one just yet. Barracks is now building a reactor. This is a small difference, but again, this is gonna allow ByuN with a couple more units, and honestly, that doesn't really surprise me all too much. Normally in the early game of Terran versus Terran, we see a little skirmish between the Hellions as well as the Reapers. You notice right there, ByuN was busy typing that his second Hellion was a little bit delayed. It's small, but I love that the man has got his priorities set, okay? You love to see it. Alright, so we should be sending these units out momentarily here. He's waiting for that Hellion to pop. Normally it's supposed to pop together with the Reapers. Yeah, it's not a big deal, right? It's not a huge deal, but it's certainly not as clean as it could be. Anyways, here we go. It's all about the execution anyways. Those couple of seconds, they can add up over the course of a game, but honestly, when it comes to these battles between Reapers and Hellions, it all comes down to whoever gets the first hits in and whoever has more stuff. Now at this point, Maru doesn't really have that much just yet. He's getting a siege tank, so he's skipping the Cyclone here, going straight into the tank. Yeah, these units at the front, in red at the very least, are in a little bit of trouble. They're mostly just trying to buy time though. 2 Marines that popped out of the barracks already, okay? They're gonna be quite helpful here at buying time, because now Mr. Siege Tank is available. Obviously, the Reapers can jump into the opponent's main base. That could be a little bit annoying. 3 SCV kills right there are not, man, this is kind of, I don't know if it's distracting for you guys, but it's a little distracting for me. Sometimes I try to interpret it, despite the fact that I don't understand it. Anyways, here's the siege tank drop apparently. I don't think that was the original plan. Right over here, the Reaper's getting some decent grenades in, but Maru is gonna be able to push this back once more. I think that Maru was planning on loading the siege tank into the plane just to send it towards the other side. Are we chasing this? Yeah, Reapers are quick, man. As soon as your boost runs out. Get off my lawn is what the siege tank shouted right there as it got one hit in on one of those Reapers. Fair enough. Anyways, I thought he was gonna try and get across. Instead, we're now trying to box in these units, which is working out quite nicely right here for Maru, who's actually gonna be able, well, to post a little laughing emoji right over there. That's ByuN with a little crying emoji in the chat as well. as he does shut all of that down. And this makes this follow-up attack right now for Maru quite terrifying. So what exactly is available right here for ByuN at this point? Well, it's a Cyclone, it's 8 Marines, it's a Raven. Siege Tank is about 80% of the way done, but he's gonna need some stuff. Now, like I said, this is ByuN, so ByuN always likes to send units towards the other side of the map. He's like, great, I don't have enough army to defend. Time for me to micro my butt off and then deal some damage on the other side of the map as well at the same time. There's that Siege Tank in blue now also available, but the tank in red is, well, marching way forward. Really lovely work right here by Maru, though, getting into an excellent position. He's going to be able to kill a lot of stuff. In the meantime, that little auto turret is in the main base of the opponent. Okay, oh, that was very close. The Raven did deal a little bit of damage. The Liberator also did liberate a couple of SCVs and Marines and whatnot, but in the end, this is actually a pretty even game. Yeah, look at the resources lost. So that's what I'm talking about. If ByuN wouldn't have sent that that Raven, I mean, it starts with an R. If he wouldn't have sent that one across the map, or if, well, Mr. Maru would have reacted a little bit quicker, this probably would have been an advantage for Maru, but in the end, yeah, it works out really nicely for him. I still like the position a little bit better, of course, though, for Mr. Maru, just because he's in the driver's seat of this game right now, and usually being the aggressor is the preferred way of playing. It's just that being the aggressor, you have a little bit more margin for error. As the defender in a, well, really any strategy game, specifically, I guess, RTS, but being the defender usually is a little bit more difficult. Okay. Maru built the command center on location at the 3rd base. The one in the main base is now also available right here for ByuN. I don't know if you can hear that, by the way, but I think my neighbors are doing some renovations right now. So if you hear some random noise in the background, I don't know if the microphone picks it up. Normally my microphone and my audio setup is pretty good at blocking out, well, noises that aren't, you know, voices. But anyway, that accidentally rhymed. Oh my god. I should be a rapper. A freestyle rapper. If this whole YouTube thing doesn't work out, I'll become a freestyle rapper instead. Brilliant plan. I have no rapping skills, no musical intro, but it doesn't matter. You know what? This Raven is doing way too much work, Maru. Why are we not, Okay, well, this one was shooting away at the refinery for a little bit because those SCVs were out of range, but I'm surprised with the inactivity right there for Maru. I think he lost 15 SCVs. I mean, 3 of them were killed by the Reaper attack in the earlier stage of the game, so he must have lost like 12 to just the Ravens, which seems a little bit excessive. 5 kills on this one. Ooh, 13 kills in total. Well, that math doesn't math, but maybe it did kill something else as well in the process. Anyhow, what I'm getting at, though, is that ByuN is dealing way more damage with these Ravens than I would have anticipated. Look at the Raven, man. Yeah, as soon as they idle, their butt dips. What in the world is that? I've never noticed that before. That's crazy. I did not realize that. Can you move them around for a little bit, please? Interesting. Anyways, ByuN is gonna go ahead and load his, like I said, he's got medevacs out right now. He's gonna load his units into medevacs and he's gonna be sending them across. Neither of these two players really committing to any sort of Viking army just yet, which is a little interesting. Obviously, Maru was planning on dealing more damage there on the other side of the map than he ended up dealing, but yeah, not really anything too crazy just yet. One thing I really like right here for ByuN is the fact that he, well, first off, got a lot of damage done with his Ravens, but secondly, he's also in a really good spot when it comes to the upgrades. He's a little late, I suppose, on the +2. That one is going to start up with the armory here after this engagement, I would imagine. He's saving up for it right now. He's got the gas. Here's the 2 engineering base in his natural. We should really start it up. Yep, okay, there we go. Both of those upgrades do begin, and that actually does help out quite a bit. So what was my favorite part here, right, is that these guys are still playing faster than like 7 Silver League players put together. Sorry, I don't want to roast you guys, but I know there's a couple of offended Silver League players watching this right now. Seriously, these guys are still playing so quick. So this is still 347 average actions per minute over the course of this game, despite the fact that they've been chatting as much as well. And those, I know for a fact that like typing in the game does not contribute to an action. There's a couple of things in the game that don't, that aren't considered actions. Like, for example, using camera location hotkeys, not considered to be an action, and these guys are definitely using camera hotkeys. Anyways, here's a stim pack moving forward right here for Maru. Okay, big anti-armor missiles, though, on both sides. That Marine on the wrong side of that area, fair enough. This command center is now, Yeah, I was gonna say, in the most vulnerable location possible. Maru is going to be able to force the council on that. Right now, it's our player in blue who decides to stim forward because he sees that those tanks are unsieged. Still, though, those anti-armor missiles are putting in so much health. It effectively reduces the armor of the units that are affected by it. So the units in the orange paint, they take additional damage. And siege tanks already are very good when it comes to fighting marines. Once again, all of the tanks in red are unsieged. ByuN decides to chase this down. This time around, it feels like a bit of a trap. There's a lot of reinforcing units also showing up. ByuN only ever unsieging a couple of his tanks. The thing is though, yeah, now the siege tank count is heavily in favor here of ByuN. So despite the fact that the supply is basically even, and when I started that sentence it was a bit of advantage right there for Maru, he can't really continue pushing. That's usually where that air dominance comes in. As soon as you have a lot of Vikings out in the field, you can, well, start producing Liberators, right? As soon as you have the air superiority, Liberators are a possibility, and well, with Liberators being a possibility, you can, of course, go for, a forced unsiege on your opponent's tanks, right? That's usually what you're aiming for. So air superiority at this stage in the game becomes super critical. But you can see that Maru decided to delay his upgrades quite a bit. ByuN is now finishing the ones that Maru just started. So in straight-up marine to marine battles, ByuN is going to be way more powerful for like the next minute and a half. A very significant amount of time. At least that's what she said. No, come on, okay. 3-3 starts up right away too. This is actually a really nice little macro game to start things off. I heard that this series is a lot of fun. And usually whenever people recommend series and they describe it as really good or a lot of fun, it means that players start cheesing, but maybe not today. Not entirely sure. This is an excellent catch right here for ByuN. He obviously clicked on his opponent's marines and he realized, yo, wait a second. Maru, that is, he can't really take on this battle. That was a lot of marines falling. SCV count, though, back in favor right now of Maru, who is gonna get a little bit more income here. Yeah. The fact that he managed to secure that 4th base, whereas ByuN did not, makes this a bit tricky. ByuN is gonna be flying his own command center on over towards the 4th base location here soon as well, so I think this just means that, well, ByuN can continue being aggressive, right? And that's what he likes to do. Are we gonna just stim those marines straight into all of those tanks? Are you insane, ByuN? That is gonna be so many losses. He got 2 tanks right there for what? 20 marines? Okay. I would not want to be a marine in ByuN's army, is all I'm saying, okay? If ByuN was my commanding officer, maybe we win the war, but we lose many a battle. Sensor tower right there ends up going down. Fair enough. Anti-armor missile? Okay, no. We're just gonna fly it forward a little too far. Anyways, a Viking count right now. Well, 1 in favor of Maru, which is apparently all he needs to squeeze in a Liberator. Obviously, the defender's advantage, though, is not to be underestimated. And this is some really good movement here by the player in red. Yep. Oh, no. ByuN realizes, yo, it's about time, boys. The sensor tower is down. He can't see me coming. He loads about, well, 90% of his army into planes, and we're gonna go straight into the opponent's main base. Let's see. Are we gonna retarget those missile turrets? Well, he wanted to, but I don't think he got it all done. Here's the units in the main base. Desperately trying, though, is Maru right now to get back into his own production. He needs to be so careful. Even the SCVs on the low ground aren't safe. How do you break this right now? Well, Liberators are very good. 14 SCVs have already gone down. There's still a large Terran army in blue roaming as well. Now suddenly Marudo is creating a bit of a concave while funneling his units right there through his own choke points. Okay, well, he ends up clearing it all out, but that was very expensive. And once again, man, one of those crazy moves that ByuN loves to make, it ends up paying off. Now he finds himself suddenly at an advantage. He got so much work done. ByuN is suddenly, like, whenever I try that, right? Whenever most players try that, it doesn't work, right? When you load your Medivacs, or, well, you load all of your units into Medivacs, you just try to go for one big push, it feels like an all-in whenever I execute it, whenever I see other players execute it too. But ByuN consistently reads the situation correctly. He's like, okay, there's no way my opponent is going to be getting, he's not going to be catching wind of this anytime soon. I'm going to be able to get there, and by the time he realizes it, I am going to be able to, well, siege up all of my tanks. It is very easy to, well, have that all go wrong, but every time we see ByuN do it, it seems to be successful. Players like, for example, Cure, right, barely ever play that way. Cure seems to not find any success with it, and Cure is, well, once again, a world-class Terran. He's been very impressive lately, in particular. Okay, command center over here gets found as well. Yeah, ByuN's drop play is pretty insane. Okay, so we have a big battle here once again. Is there enough right here for our player in blue? Yeah, I believe there is. And just like that, it's our aggressive Terran who obtains the victory in game number 1. So I decided to fast forward through the first minute of game 2. These guys are back to drinking tea. Maybe they should just meet for dinner or something. I don't know. I think most of the Korean pros live in Seoul. So they pretty much all live in the same city. I guess the only problem is that Seoul is absolutely, well, it's huge. Let me actually look it up. How many inhabitants? Inhabitants. Okay, about 10 million, give or take. Yeah, about 10 million people. So that's a pretty large city. Apparently that's about 20% of the population. That's actually pretty mental, isn't it? Yeah, the Netherlands at the very least. Definitely not 20% of the people live in Amsterdam. I mean, maybe 20% of the people would like to live in Amsterdam, but the city's actually pretty small. I think a lot of people don't realize this. I think Amsterdam has like 800,000 inhabitants, something like that. Which, as far as like, yeah, major cities in the world go, that is certainly on the low end of things. At least, I've talked about this on the stream in the past. People that, like, you know, want to take a trip to Europe from the States or whatever, they're like, yeah, I want to go to London, I want to go to Paris, I want to go to Amsterdam. And I think in a lot of people's minds, Amsterdam, London, Paris are all roughly the same size, but no, Amsterdam is tiny if you compare it to both London and Paris. I don't really know exactly how those two line up, but maybe the city centers, right? I guess the areas you actually want to go to, the touristy areas, I guess they're gonna be mostly the same. Maybe not. Anyways, I don't really know. Regardless, what exactly do we have going on here? Once again, double gas openers. Neither player really committing to too much aggression here in the earlier stages of the game. No cheeses, nothing all too fancy. Okay, so let's see. Why was I told? Oh, right. Yeah, so these guys, maybe they should meet for dinner every once in a while, you know? Because they seem to have a lot to catch up on, is all I'm saying. I could go for some Korean barbecue right now. I mean, I'm recording this at the 11 in the morning, but it's been a long time since I had some Korean barbecue. That's actually at StarCraft tournaments. Whenever there's a Korean barbecue place nearby, that's sort of become tradition over the years in StarCraft. There's a lot of Koreans at StarCraft tournaments, and Korean barbecue is absolutely delicious. I remember some of those. There's a couple of really nice places, especially around BlizzCon. There used to be a yearly tradition when BlizzCon was still going on. I think this was on a Saturday night, like the day before the tournament grand finals. Basically, all of the StarCraft people, including most of the pro gamers too, they would all, yeah, drive on out to this place. Anyways, it was a lot of fun. Kinda miss that sometimes. It's been a while. Anyways, here we go. Maru has got himself a medevac. Right, it's a beautiful medevac. It's made out of red colors. I mean, maybe not the most vibrant color of red, although we can probably blame Babylon for that. ByuN has got a, yeah, okay, we're gonna just sacrifice that, fair enough. He's got a Widow Mine right over here. Is there enough available right now for ByuN to defend this? So both players just trying to get into the best position they can. Nice lock-on right over there, but Maru picks up the Marines and the units that are affected by this as well. There's the Raven available. Ravens do not spawn with enough energy for anti-armor missiles. So, I don't really know exactly how much he's going to be able to do. That command center itself actually in a little bit of trouble, so he is on a timer. Cyclone just got blasted down. ByuN actually with a little bit of miss micro. Hello, ByuN! Okay, well, he's going to have to repair that back up to full HP. The siege tank no longer joining in. SCVs are starting to fall. And I honestly didn't think this was going to deal this much damage. This is not the most conventional way to open up in Terran versus Terran, but Maru just getting a whole lot of units out. There's the anti-armor missile, and this is now going to allow the units in blue to commit moving forward. Okay, there's a Raven available as well for our player in red, so maybe he's not done just yet. Honestly though, this may already be enough. Killing like 6 SCVs and slowing down your opponent quite a bit. Going for the 3rd CC on the back of this is a really good situation to be in right now as Maru. Okay, ByuN. You have one more final shot to shut this down. I think you need to get it done really quick. That siege tank eventually will be blasted. But in the end, yeah, that's a significant amount of losses. We're gonna continue onwards with the 1 HP medevac. Okay, 20 HP, basically 1, because it dies in like 1 hit. At this point, not a lot of anti-air available right here for ByuN, other than, of course, his Marines. Do we have enough right there, or are we using a grenade as well to try and just deal a bit of damage? In the end, right there, the Reaper also got shut down. Okay, so I introduced Maru as the more macro player, or the more macro-focused player, at least in the beginning of this particular series. But this is a good example as to what we can expect coming out of him. I mean, to be the #1 Terran in the world, and especially to be a TVT specialist, which Maru certainly is, yeah, you need to be able to play every single playstyle. Ooh, that interference matrix coming in really clutch. Raven also goes down. It's gonna come... Oh, no, the siege tank lives? What in the world? 3 HP still available right here. Tank in blue ends up falling as well. That siege tank just got so much value. I was sure the auto turret was gonna kill it, but apparently not the case. And in the meantime, the third command center is morphing into an orbital command. Third CC has been started up as well by ByuN, but considering the early game was, well, mostly comparable, right? Maru just ends up with a significantly, yeah, better economy, a better army, better upgrades. Honestly, he's got everything going for him right now. It's not like ByuN can really catch his opponent off guard with like a Stimpak attack or something along those lines either. I mean, he can, but his opponent by then will certainly have Stimpak done as well. And, well, Maru is now ramping up the production, right? So the supply count that you see currently at the bottom of your screen, it is gonna go more heavily in favor right here of the red player. Oh, very soon as well. And with that snipe of the unit out of the sky, ByuN realizes, yeah, there's no way. I'm just gonna tap out. Next up, we find ourselves on Ancient Cistern. And I had to go back into replay for a little bit because I fast forwarded through the first minute and a half. Nobody has said a word. Things apparently, yeah, are not as civil as they once upon a time were. These guys, they are done messing around. Okay, so we've got a little bit of build order variety. Maru going for a single gas rather than the double gas that ByuN decided to go for. Double gas openers in general seem to be the preferred playstyle in this particular matchup, but of course you do delay your own command center with it, so Maru going for a scouting SCV there. That is quite pricey, sending that worker across the map and then on the way back. It costs you quite a bit of mining time, but he is going to be able to go right here for a command center on the low ground quite a bit quicker than his opponent. So by the time that ByuN starts up his, there's already a command center done about halfway on the other side of the map. This does, however, allow ByuN to get his factory out a little bit quicker, so by the time that this factory is producing a single Hellion, Maru is about halfway done with his factory. So this usually means that our player in blue is gonna be the aggressor just because he's got more stuff out on the field. Kinda depends on when they want to start up the starports. Okay, he's gonna go straight into a reactor. Interestingly, ooh, okay. That's gotta do with like some siege tank moves over here, right? There's no way that he's just gonna... That's probably it. Normally you would just plant it down and the reactor would end up right over there or so. But Maru actually repositioning his barracks. That is interesting. Okay, so he's certainly awaiting some aggression here. Yeah, so starports are mostly identically timed. The question is, okay, when exactly does Maru move across the map? Or ByuN, sorry, when does he move across the map? Maru's not going to move for a little bit. Apparently the moment is right now. So this is the type of army that ByuN is incredibly good with. Maybe it's a little hard to show though when Maru is very good at controlling it too, but whenever there's a micro war happening, usually, with pretty much any opponent, I give ByuN the upper hand. Actually, with, I guess, any opponent. Quite literally any player out there. Okay, Reapers, going into the main base. Good grenade right there by our player in red. Marine ends up falling here for sure. Good grenades here in general. Those Reapers are gonna have to back off, however, and... well, so far the damage is not that great. Then again though, the SCV scout combined with everything else that's been going on in this game so far, it doesn't necessarily put Maru in the best economical spot either, right? So it's really important here that, especially as the player who goes for a later expansion, you don't underestimate your own situation. It's very easy to assume, okay, my opponent's been mining much longer, therefore he's got more mules, and therefore, you know, I'm economically far behind. Not necessarily the case, and ByuN right now, for example, is also going to be able to go for a third command center on location, whereas Maru is going to have to go for a slightly more conservatively positioned one. So, yeah. The openers, they mostly end up being the same. Although, usually being with the double gas, right, it just allows you to make higher tier units a little bit quicker. And therefore, usually you just feel a bit more comfortable because you have more units to play with. Still a good spot though here for Mr. Maru. The energy of the orbital command is not to be underestimated. Yeah, ByuN wants to continue poking here at the front, but that bunker, it's only a single Marine in there. Jimmy himself, man, is pushing back that entire army in blue. What a legend. Looks like, I guess that was a Hellion? Or what was that? Not entirely sure. Anyways, something scouted the timing right there of the 3rd CC. Must have been a Hellion. I think he already saw it actually earlier too with the Reaper. Maybe he was just trying to hunt down the SCV that was building it. But ByuN is not going to give him that advantage. Orbital command should definitely be coming up. No? It should definitely be coming up. We're doing a big switcheroo over here. Okay, now it starts up. That is... Considering there's no chatting going on either, right? That is certainly a small slip-up. Okay. So we're leading into some bigger armies here once more. Stimpeg is coming up for both players. 1-1 upgrades right here as well for Maru. No upgrades just yet for ByuN though, who's opting for additional production instead. Yeah, so he's just started up his own engineering base as well, but these are definitely a little bit later. So maybe there's a chance that Maru decides to go for an attack as soon as his own upgrades are done to make sure that he can keep that Terran player in blue at bay. But then you're obviously pushing into siege tanks again, so... Who wants to be more aggressive here? 1 Raven available right here for ByuN. 2 Ravens available for Maru. These things are absolutely amazing. Being able to temporarily shut off a couple of those tanks is incredibly helpful. To not even really speak of the auto turrets that deal a lot of damage, the anti-armor missiles as well. I mean, there's a lot of potential. Okay. A little bit of a skirmish here once again. Stimpeg at this point is done, so ByuN needs to be really careful. Yeah, that's exactly why Maru decides to chase this down. Good reaction speed right there, though, by ByuN. He is going to be able to save... Oh, keep running. Okay, well, he's going to be able to save all those units except for the Reaper. I think it just disappeared in a little puff right over there. Okay. Here we go. Maru indeed going for an attack with the +1/+1 upgrades finishing up. Anti-armor missiles are going to be available. Combat shields are going to be pretty awesome as well, but they're still a little while away. If he goes for an attack right now, he will actually be able to hit ByuN before he finishes 1-1. So with small armies like this, it makes a significant difference. There's an anti-armor missile. Brilliant hit. Basically covering the entire army. Now also essentially cutting ByuN out of his own natural expansion. And this is a killer move if I've ever seen one. Brilliant stuff. I mean, it can even kill the Engi base. And what seemed like a pretty stellar macro game, I mean, you can see the margin for error here. It's suddenly over. It's time. ByuN sending out one of his first SCVs. 1 barracks is coming up inside of the main base, but I'm assuming we're gonna be planting down something else over here as well. Either that or he's just scouting. No way. Nah, ByuN doesn't scout with early game SCVs like this. He's gotta go for another barracks, no? Yeah, okay, I was gonna say. I thought for a second he was just afraid that his opponent went for a proxy. Nah. No. That's not how we do things, ByuN. You know it, I know it, everybody that watches you play knows it as well. You're not really the kind of guy who's afraid of being cheesed. You are the cheeser, right? This is like that scene from Breaking Bad where Skylar is afraid of danger. ByuN is the danger. He is the one who knocks. Anyways, SCV scout once again right here for Maru. Problem is, right, with a barracks proxy like this, what do you scout? You scout essentially a similar opener as the previous game. Yeah, it's a barracks. There's no factory yet, though, and that's definitely something that Maru will be picking up on. He's seen the double gas. He's seen the amount of SCVs in both of the gases, too. Even though he didn't see the actual extractor there, he saw the amount of, refinery. He saw the amount of SCVs going back and forth. Just by the density of the workers, you can figure it out. So there's a chance that he knows. Yeah, he's gonna check this out right now. Okay. Maru's showing us, yo, I'm really freaking good at this game. You were doubting me? Don't you know who I am? Okay, insta-cancel on the CC. We're gonna be going for a factory instead. Once again, a single gas opener right here for Maru. He's gonna be rebuilding this inside of the main base. Are we gonna go for a bunker? Nah, we're feeling confident? Okay. Brilliant. Nicely done. That's a beautiful supply depot here in the middle of the map. ByuN letting himself freestyle a little bit. Okay, Maru anticipating the units to move on over in this direction next. ByuN is indeed still pumping out 2 of those Reapers at once, but he's playing this pretty passively. Normally ByuN is everywhere. Okay, he's gonna take the interesting ramp. We never really see this one being used very often. It's, well, usually the ramp or the one in the back of the main base, but this is a location too where he can go onto the main, and it's dealing quite a bit of damage so far. Good shoveling right there on the low HP Reaper, bringing 2 of them down towards the low ground. 1 Reaper grenade just on the off chance that, well, some of those units in red decided to chase. Cyclone should be coming up right here for Maru though, and that's gonna make the base defense quite a bit easier. Command Center has started up as well for ByuN, but he is mostly just sending everything he's got towards the other side of the map. Maru wants to figure out whether or not this is going to be an all-in from ByuN. He's going to find the Command Center, and I guess that will make him pretty happy, but he needs to be very careful because this is still an awful lot of units in blue. Okay, well, killing this SCV that's building the CC is pretty sweet. Should be able to defend that in the end. Let's have a look right here at the fight at the front. That's 1 SCV being moved backwards. 1 other Reaper grenade right there also hurting the Hellion a little bit, but this is an amazing engagement right here for ByuN. That Cyclone so critical here when it comes to the defense, but I mean, it's gonna come at the cost of a lot of SCVs. Okay, once again, he's locked on right there. That's a nice hit, I suppose, with the Cyclone. Good grenades right there on the retreat too. Okay, that Command Center on the low ground has been denied for a long ass time though, so that is actually really quite nice there from Maru. The problem is, he just lost 10 SCVs, 15 in total in this game. Look at the cost efficiency right here for ByuN, right? Just getting so much value out of his army. And he's not done yet. There's a Banshee coming up right now for Maru, so that's usually quite good. But now ByuN is also bringing a Cyclone to this party. Okay. Nah, it might be time to chill for a little bit, ByuN. Well, he's gonna give the Command Center, the barracks, a suggestion at the very least, a command to go into the opponent's main base. He's gonna figure out, yeah, things are a little spicy over here. Can I push in? Yeah, no, now he sees the siege tank. Well, he wants to move in. He decides to move in. He sees the tank. He's like, yep, great moment. And he actually gets it. He does get it. So that's a really good trade right there in the end. Okay, scan right here to continue revealing that Cyclone. That Cyclone accepted its fate right there at the last step on top of that ramp. And he realized he wasn't going to be able to get out, but sniping the tank is really sweet. In the meantime, though, that Banshee, yeah, it also is still available. There's another Cyclone just about to pop out. Good thing ByuN didn't go for a siege tank there. That could have been a disaster if he did. Okay, decided to go for another unit right here for the base defense, but that was a good amount of damage done just now by Maru. Okay. So where are we now? We're gonna go 4 gas here, ByuN. Really? That's a lot of gas. The barracks is still flying around. Whenever I see a barracks flying, we're gonna go for a little siege tank siege over here still. We're gonna continue onwards. Okay. Whenever I see a barracks flying, I immediately think it could be a transition towards mech, but I think it's not a transition towards mech. I think this is ByuN just trying to win the game. Yeah, this man. He's always been a fan of playing aggressively, right? Pick up, pick up, pick up. Nice. Getting maximum amount of damage. Love to see that. We have double starport here for ByuN right now. So we're going 4 gas, double starport, but he's not producing out of his first starport, which makes me... I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he wants to go for both upgrades for, like, I don't know, Banshees at the same time or so, but then I think he could have done the big switcheroo in the main base. Now we're just gonna go Ravens. I think he's just gonna go for, yeah, a lot of Raven production here. That's the only thing that really makes sense. To be fair, though, at this point, Maru doesn't really have much against Ravens. He's doing the big switcheroo right here with the starports. Guess that's nice. He's gonna be able to start producing some stuff here eventually, but those siege tanks on the low ground constantly shelling away at all of those supply depots is actually incredibly painful. Maru right now unable to produce. There's another starport. Yeah, he's just gonna go for a ton of ravens here, I believe. Double ravens though, moving in as well. I love that the most recent balance patch in StarCraft 2, it was meant to reduce the prevalence of ravens by making them weaker. Now, when Blizzard made them weaker, they also made the raven a little bit cheaper. And, yeah, it essentially means that players are just, yeah, still playing Mass Raven anyways. Ravens, not very popular in Terran versus Protoss, not very popular in Terran versus Zerg, but in Terran versus Terran, they are absolutely fabulous. Okay, good hit right over there on that siege tank as well, but there's just, yeah, not enough available for Maru to defend. And that means that ByuN gets another point on the board. And that brings us to Royal Blood to determine who the best Terran player in the world currently is. When it comes to good Terran players, I already brought up Cure earlier. Cure has been incredibly impressive lately. He's doing very well in the GSL Code S, and just overall, Cure, especially his Terran versus Protoss, is looking monstrous. Either way, Clem of course very good as well, but I don't think he's quite considered to be at Maru and ByuN's level right now. Oliveira, I mean the current world champion of StarCraft 2, he had that magical run at StarCraft 2's IEM Katowice. He also looked incredibly good for the month or so after that, but recently I've seen him play quite a bit and he hasn't, I don't know, he had something spicy, right? He had like that beautiful magic touch at IEM Katowice with that incredible run, but over the last few weeks, it seems to be missing. Who else is in a content? Nah, I think maybe Bunny, right? Hero Marine, Spirit, Gumiho, I guess. I don't think they're quite at the level of both Maru and ByuN, so I think it's fair to say that this is a series to decide who the best Terran player in the world currently is. Now, they probably disagree, and maybe that's a little overly dramatic, but considering this match was played, well, as of me casting it literally 2 days ago, I think it's gonna give us a pretty accurate update. And, well, you can see that both of these guys are very evenly matched. Interestingly enough, now it's Maru going for the double gas opener, whereas ByuN decides to go for just a single refinery. Okay. SCV Scout once again comes in. Okay. Are we not gonna start up a command center, ByuN? I'm a little confused by this move over here. Is Maru... Okay, no, this is just ByuN trying to play a little trick on his opponent. So Maru knew that there was an SCV on the low ground. He saw it when he came in. Then after the SCV in red left the main base of the player in blue, the command center started up. He could have started up like 5 seconds sooner, maybe 10 seconds sooner even. But now, yeah, Maru is a little confused. He's looking around. He's like, wait a second, what in the world's happening here? Aren't you supposed to go for a CC? I've seen a single gas. Why do you not have a command center building? That single SCV, by the way, managed to get back into the main base. SCV of Maru is going to scout this, I think, eventually. Even if the depot is raised, which it isn't. Okay, he now knows what he's playing against. It's just a safe command center in the main base. Fair enough. Okay, so is Maru going to be the aggressor this time around? He doesn't necessarily need to. So I think this was ByuN trying to force Maru to build his own command center in the main base too. Not the case though. Maru did not take the bait. There's the starport going down once again. Widowmine coming up for ByuN. Okay. So we've already seen him play this a little bit. Maybe this is his one gas, quick second CC type of opener. Medevac as well though coming up, so... I mean, we all know what ByuN decides to do, right? When he gets a Medevac out. I give the Medevac about 5 seconds of idle life. That's the number I'm going with. I think the SCVs... Or sorry, the Medevac gets to hang out on the low ground with the SCVs, I guess, for a little while. And then... No, never mind. It doesn't even get 5 seconds. I think it's gonna get 2 seconds. This guy, man, he's gonna complete training and boom, right away. Well, it's a little awkward because now I guess he does get 5 seconds. Yeah, there you go. Immediately had to start healing some of those Marines. Maru now sees this too, though, so he must realize, okay, there's a very good chance my opponent is going to be sending those units towards the other side. So despite the fact that Maru is the one with the double gas, he's going to be the one playing a bit defensively. It's a bit risky, though, for ByuN. Let's see. Okay, so he's not really too concerned. Yeah, ByuN that is with the main base. Although Maru is already committing quite a few units over there. Grenade goes down. Nothing really all too much, although one Reaper had to pay for this. Now Maru has realized, okay, this is not really an army that I have to be too concerned of. I should be marching across the map myself. Siege Tank is going to be popping out. Raven is going to be available here as well momentarily for ByuN. Okay, looks like the Widowmine also got a kill in. So, you know what? Not bad. Yeah, 2 Reapers so far and a single SCV. Not a bad start right here from Micro Jackson. Barracks being swapped around over here. So, yeah, Maru wants to catch up, I guess, in the air department. What exactly are we going to be producing? A Liberator. Interesting. Okay. Just a single Liberator for now. This means that ByuN is going to be the one with the Raven upper hand, right? And we've already seen the amazing utility of the Ravens in this series so far. By the way, one thing that's recently happened in StarCraft 2, and this is something that has never occurred in 13 years, is that the GSL code S has actually now made its replays available through their Patreon, which is something I never expected to see. Now, from what I understand, no amazing games have been played just yet for this particular season of the GSL, but I, do have the replays now, so I definitely will be keeping an eye out. If there's any series in particular you wanted to see, man, people have recommended GSL series for years. I can finally now start casting them. Actually, super exciting. Anyways, Maru is the one who decides to get aggressive. Careful now. He's brought a single Liberator to this party as well, which can be very strong. ByuN just started up Stimpack. Neither of these two players really have a lot of upgrades just yet. It's just gonna be low tier units, I guess. Or, well, unupgraded units, maybe a better way to put it. Some high tier units too. ByuN is slowly being pushed into his own natural expansion, but the Ravens are accumulating more and more energy. Second Liberator also now out. This is a standoff that we don't commonly see at this level of play, man. Usually these guys, they like to be in each other's face. Can Maru really continue? Okay, I think this is the right call. Yeah. The problem is, he committed to that quite nicely, right? So now there's gonna be at least a 30-second advantage or so for ByuN on his Stimpack upgrade. There is a chance he can make use of that. Okay. So, Maru decides to, for the most part, go back home. He has forced out a lot of scans, I guess, of his opponent, so that's something to consider noting. Okay, here's the Ravens, though. The Ravens are so critical. Yeah, anti-armor missiles and... Or, sorry, not anti-armor missiles. Interference matrices do go down, but those Liberators up in the air are putting in quite a bit of work, too. Then again, the Vikings of the player in blue shut down those libs. Okay, siege tanks decide to get on out of there. And Maru decides to retreat. In the end, mostly just a wash. I don't think either player really got a significant advantage there. The main problem, though, for Maru is that he doesn't have any Ravens anymore. And the Ravens really are super important in this matchup. They just put in so much work. I guess it means now that Maru is going to be defensive for quite a while. Setting up his line of tanks on both sides once again. He'd love to go for some sensor towers, but at this point in the game, they are a bit pricey. Third CC has also landed right here for ByuN. Okay, nice little macro game to close things off. Or to close things out. Probably a better way to put it. I'm liking this situation more and more, though, for ByuN now. Yeah. So his upgrades are ahead. And even though that's not necessarily a game changer, his army is still big enough to contest his opponents. As long as he doesn't get caught off guard in these engagements, I think he should be fine. And honestly, there's no Ravens here for Maru, so... These fights become rather difficult. Okay, he decides to just straight up go for it. Ravens and Vikings, though, very far behind. SCVs are pulled as well right now from their main mineral lines, trying their best to put in some work. There's those Vikings, though, landed and dealing so much damage. Vikings deal bonus to mechanical units, and, well, that turns out to be a mechanical unit. ByuN just, okay, lifted up one of his CCs for no apparent reason. And that was a costly set of losses right there for Maru. I'm honestly surprised he took that engagement. Without Ravens, like, you just can't really do that much. And even though ByuN may have been intending to sit back for a little bit longer, now he's got a 1-1 coming up. I've got a feeling that ByuN could start moving forward right now. He still has his 2 Ravens. They don't have energy for interference matrices right now. But they have a good enough... Yeah, they're still very, very helpful here, obviously, with their utility. They can still drop an auto turret each. Okay, CC over there will be cancelled. Easy peasy. Already making this engagement worthwhile. Okay, we're gonna go for the slow push over here instead. He could ferry units. Yeah, he's gonna ferry units across. The Ravens are getting to the point where they once again have enough energy here. We're just a few energy points off right now. And that is gonna allow these Ravens to start shooting away at those siege tanks once again. Without these siege tanks in the mix, this is a very difficult fight to take right now for Maru. Obviously Maru, though, very used to fighting these games from behind, but I think the time has come to start the engagements. SCVs have been pulled away as well. ByuN is gonna have to land... Okay, he decides to go for auto turrets. That's an interesting decision. He decides to land as much damage as possible, just maximizing the DPS of his units. In the meantime, a little bit of damage was also done on the other side of the map, but it's 6 SCVs traded out for ByuN versus 19 from Maru. That is huge. Okay. ByuN right now, okay, well, he's going to be getting a couple more units, it seems, as Maru is on the offensive. Stimpak is activated right now for both players. They're going to need it as well. But this concave is much better right now for the player in blue. GG is called. And despite the fact that Maru is considered to be the Terran versus Terran expert, it's ByuN who obtains the victory.